Alright, let's check out the comments from my last video. Alright, well I guess it's time to make another video. The conclusion to my most divisive series. Today I will be giving you my final list of roller coasters I want destroyed. The amount of hate I've received from this series has been staggering, but just like Hollywood, I will continue to double down until one day getting it right. Or not. Unlike my last two videos, every roller coaster on this list, I make a solid argument, or at least in my own opinion I do, why it should be destroyed. There are a couple coasters on this list that I still enjoy riding, but I can see the upside to having it gone. Please note, some of my picks may trigger you, so be prepared. Finally, this is all in good fun, so try to take it as such. Alright, on to our first victim. Goliath, at Six Flags New England, built by Vekoma. Before Goliath started terrorizing the guests at Six Flags New England, this giant inverted boomerang was conceived and constructed at Six Flags Magic Mountain. From the reports of those who got to ride it while it was still in California, say the ride was an exciting, smooth, and intense experience. Unfortunately, after shipping it to Massachusetts, Six Flags decided to replace the staggered, seated trains with a more traditional four-across style. The ride is now very rough, making the experience unbearable for some. It's a shame because this roller coaster has so much potential. The vertical lifts are truly terrifying. Goliath also suffers from a lot of downtime. The ride is almost closed more than it operates. Since Goliath handles so rough in its current condition, I say just scrap it. Goofy's Sky School, Disney's California adventure designed by Mock Rides. Disney theme parks are known for their elaborate, well-orchestrated, and expensive attractions. Goofy's Sky School comes nowhere near these high standards. The simple Wild Mouse coaster sticks out like a sore thumb. This is the equivalent of adding a Big Mac to the menu at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Wild Mouse roller coasters aren't a bad ride per se, but are simple carnival-style attractions that shouldn't be featured at a multi-billion-dollar resort. The theming is mediocre at best, especially when comparing it to other Disney attractions. I think it's time to remove this Wild Mouse coaster and sell it to the nearest carnival. Primeval Whirl, Disney's Animal Kingdom designed by Revercon. Speaking of roller coasters that don't belong, Primeval Whirl at Disney's Animal Kingdom is another attraction that threatens to tarnish the Disney standard. Why a theme park that charges over $100 for a single-day ticket would feature this carnival-style attraction is beyond me. Just like Goofy's Sky School, this attraction was built during an era of Disney when the bar for quality was lowered. Fortunately, Disney has been correcting many of these wrongs, especially with Over at California's Adventure, so it's time to remove this coaster as well. Firebird at Six Flags America, designed by B&M. B&M has had a fantastic record with only 2 of their attractions ever getting scrapped. Firebird, which was originally a stand-up roller coaster called Iron Wolf, might become the next project to get destroyed. Six Flags attempted to salvage this deteriorating attraction by converting it into a floorless coaster, but unfortunately the ride is still rough and headache-inducing. Instead of completely scrapping Firebird, maybe they could retract some of the bad sections of the ride and hopefully keep the original B&M coaster operational for many years to come. Batwing at Six Flags America, designed by Vekoma. Staying in the same park, Batwing, a Vekoma Flying Dutchman, has been floundering around with a broken wing for some time. The ride spent a good month last year down for maintenance, so I wouldn't be surprised if Six Flags grants my request sooner than expected. The fact is, these Flying Dutchman models are extremely unreliable, uncomfortable, and outdated to compete with any newer coaster models on the market. Once B&M opened their first flying coaster, it was game over. Vekoma was unable to compete with a more efficient and reliable version by B&M. Because Six Flags America is near the bottom of my favorite parks in the Six Flags chain, I wouldn't shed a tear if this ride bites the dust. Magnum XL-200 at Cedar Point, designed by Aerodynamics. Arguably the most controversial pick on today's list, Magnum became an instant classic when it opened back in 1989. The ride is the first continuous circuit coaster to break the 200-foot mark. After serving the guests of Cedar Point for 30 years, the ride is rapidly approaching the end of its service life. Depending on where you are seated, the ride can be unbearably rough. Yes, Magnum can still deliver some fun rides. I remember marathoning this hyper coaster back in 2012 and having a blast. Cedar Point, though it is a decent-sized property, is running out of space to work with. Magnum XL-200 takes up a very valuable chunk of property, and the park officials may have to make a very tough call in the near future. So just because the ride might be considered for removal, why do I want to hurry along the process? Well, I'm just not a huge fan. I can appreciate the ride for what it is, but understand that something 10 times better could take its place. If Cedar Point is going to remove something legendary like Magnum, the project that replaces it is going to be epic. Lightning Racers at Hersheypark, designed by Great Coasters International. One of the most overrated roller coasters in Pennsylvania, Lightning Racers is a dual racing wooden coaster by Great Coasters International. I have only heard praise of this attraction, but whenever I ride this roller coaster, I'm underwhelmed. It features no airtime with a mediocre layout. The only redeeming quality of Lightning Racers is the racing aspect. With Hershey's successful water park located right next to this attraction, and Lightning Racers diminishing ride attendance, I wouldn't be surprised if this coaster is facing extinction in the near future. With Wildcat located nearby and in bad condition, many enthusiasts hope that it gets the RMC treatment. Personally, I'd rather see Hersheypark revitalize Wildcat with the assistance of GCI. If Lightning Racers doesn't get torn down because of water park expansions, then I would recommend it getting the RMC treatment. Imagine how amazing this dueling attraction would be under the thumb of Rocky Mountain construction. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's video, or you were extremely triggered by it, one or the other. Let me know in the comments what roller coasters you would like to see destroyed. As always, please subscribe so you don't miss out on more great content coming your way by X Scream Thrills.